the water and wastewater improvements that need to occur. We need to make those improvements in order to, one, attract the businesses, and two, allow those that are existing to expand, which is the goals that we talk about all the time up here. This is the perfect tool to help that happen. In order to address the concerns of the chair, I would again make the recommended motion, but then it would include the deletion on page 6 of the sentence, partner with schools, community agencies, and interjurisdictionally to complete design and or construction of one project or to help fund one. With that deletion, again, is the project that the CEO has mentioned is not precluded, but it does go a long way to clear up any misconceptions of what the plan may offer. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that would be my motion.
Okay, there is a motion to approve with the deletion of that one sentence. Do I hear a second?
Second.
There is a second. Supervisor Koufax. Discussion to the motion. Supervisor Pinches.
I won't be supporting this. I think, I don't know, Tom, you mentioned that this gives you ability to borrow about $4 million.
4.5, probably, depending upon market conditions, 4 to 4.5 million.
Well, it's calculated here that basically at $1.2 million in interest, that's about 25% of your gross loan amount you're going to be paying out in interest. I think that's a poor plan to move forward in any project when you're paying over 25% and then in carrying costs. I think that's.
Well, I don't think that's true. They would be the.
Well, I'm just going by what this
yeah,
says.
the loan will be amortized over a number of years. We would never bring you a package like that where it has that many costs associated to it. So there's a lengthy period of time that the loan goes for. I don't know, Steve, if you remember, it was 30 years or something to that effect. But
I can interject. Every effort was made to make this everything about the plan as conservative as possible. So to that extent and to that end, the interest payments were maximized. Well, you know, everything was done to make it conservative. And just for your information, also, and I'm sure you're aware of this, if a bond issuance were to be attempted, that would certainly come before the board for approval on that specific item. So, you know, if there were anything that were a bad deal, you would certainly have a chance to shoot it down at that time.
It's just my point that what's calculated here is $1,236,000 that's going to be spent on debt service. That's not counting the cost of going out for the bond issuance or anything. I just think that's on $4.5 million worth of projects. I think that's. I don't think that's a good plan.
no, it's definitely not that high. I'll check with Steve and our consultant. I think we've explained that in a way that is inaccurate, because it is nowhere near those kinds of costs.
Well, that's what it shows in this document here.
Yeah, we'll get you clarification on that issue.
And just to kind of reiterate, the reason it's written that way, and it's probably too conservative, but it was just an attempt at making sure that the costs were not underestimated and that the actual dollars available were not underestimated.
Okay, Supervisor Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a question perhaps for our CEO or for Mr. Dunnicliffe. I have two questions. In regards to the motion before us, is there any concern that the elimination of this sentence on exploring opportunities for recreational programs, partnering with schools, and so forth for design completion or construction of one project, is that going to, in any way, the elimination of that language, tie our hands with respect to two possibilities you mentioned, which was partnerships with the college, or you spoke about the site at the south end of town? I think it's the old Ward, Montgomery Ward's building. And so you referenced two possible projects that might be available to go forward with. One even could be a housing project, my understanding, one at the south end of town. So is there anything in the elimination of this language that would tie our hands? And you were referencing, I believe, that this language addressed or implied those possible partnerships or connections. So in eliminating this language, does that eliminate those possibilities?
Certainly, I'm not a lawyer and don't pretend to be one, but
We have one right next to
we
you.
have one right next to us. But I think what we were trying to do is craft something. This is a 5-year plan. I think the concern, as I'm hearing it, relates to the word recreational, because we do want to have partnerships with our schools, and we do want to have partnerships with the colleges as well as the city. I think the sticking point here is the term whether or not we should be in the recreation business. So I think if we just take that particular word out and leave the balance of it there, I think it would be more appropriate.
Well, I understand the concerns of the chair, at least I think I do, so I just wanted to make sure that we weren't taking an action that would preclude 2 other things that you've mentioned and find out later that we can't pursue those options. It didn't appear to me that it would do that, but maybe council could weigh in. Then I have one more question.
I think the flexibility is still there.
So my second question is, we received a memo from the Department of Finance. I think it's important that the public understands this. It references Chapter 751, Statutes of 2008, that requires redevelopment agencies to shift approximately $350 million in property tax revenues to schools and community colleges during this fiscal year. My reading of this on the second page is that will be a sum of, I believe, if I'm reading it correctly, $46,904 to Mendocino County. So I'm just wondering, have we factored in that